Well, let's focus on something that will get you fired up. Credit cards. American credit card debt totaled over $972 billion at the end of last year. And President Obama says he wants better oversight and better practices in the industry. So exactly what can be done to reform the credit card business? Adam Levin is the chairman and founder of Credit.com. That's central two questions, Adam. One, what's going to happen? Do you think that we will have regulations even ahead of the Federal Reserve's regulations going into effect next year? And what would it mean if you got a credit card?
Well, I think the important thing is to try to move up those regulations as quickly as possible. I know that there's legislation now pending in Washington that would do that, and I sense with growing public outcry about the problem that I think it will move up. And I think it's important that it happen because the abuses are legion, and we are a nation that's awash, that's hooked on credit.
Well, what kind of abuses are you seeing? What are the most egregious that you've seen?
Well, what I see is they cut credit limits almost at the drop of a hat. They raise rates with almost no notice, and the rates are not only for purchases that we make in the future, but also existing balances. In some cases, the rates could double.
Right. The regulations and what's been proposed in front of Congress that's one of the things it would do is you couldn't just hike rates on existing balances.
Right. It would be on a prospective basis. You'd have to do it. In addition to which, it's all about the fine print. It's very confusing. People don't understand it. In addition to which, it's sort of trickery. And also allocation of payment.
But nobody needs to have a credit card, you know? Why does the government need to come in and solve everybody's problems?
I don't think it's more a situation of the government solving people's problems as trying to bring sort of order to the equivalent of the Wild West. That's what's happened. And
well, everybody should just pay off their credit card, close it down, and the credit card companies will shut down and we move on.
If the world were that simple, but it's not.
Why not?
People aren't going to do that.
Well, are we going to go?
I understand what you're saying. I was being a little facetious.
No,
Obviously, a lot of families have a lot of credit card debt. Now they're struggling under the weight of that debt. All right? And we've all woken up one day. We forgot to pay our credit card bill on time. I've done it. Next day, your interest rate is tripled because you paid 1 day late.
Right.
You're angry. Now, I'm lucky. Got the ability to generally, I don't pay off the balance, shut it down. I get angry. A lot of people don't have the ability to do that. But at what point do we draw the line between the government dictating contracts? That's what we're talking about here. Credit card agreement is a contract, no matter how obfuscating, right?
But what they are talking about is the fact of just inserting fundamental fairness in the process. Instead of 14 days.
Life isn't fair, though.
Life may not be fair, but the problem is that we have created the addiction. We are in extraordinary times right now, times that really require collaboration, cooperation, communication, and we have to work through this problem as we are working through the mortgage problem, because there's an enormous amount at stake.
He's talking about cracking down on abuses, because again, your payment date will just suddenly change and no notice. Because
payment date can't change. That's not true. Payment date can't change.
Oh, no, they do.
Yeah,
in terms of,
I'm just saying we talk about this addiction to credit. We're addicted. It's the housing industry's problem. Everybody bought homes they couldn't afford. It's the credit card companies' problems that everybody ran up their credit card debt. It's the car makers' problems that people bought cars they couldn't afford. I mean, you see, my point is more macro, and I argued with Jared Bernstein about this issue last night on Your World. It's like, at what point do we say, hey, America, take responsibility for your own actions?
Well, one of the ways
I don't believe this whole addiction thing.
The way we say take responsibility for your actions is we work hard as a nation to build financial literacy. The reason why we are where we are...
Maybe we should indict the educational system and not have the government try to solve everybody's problems.
I want to know one thing.
The fact that college-educated Americans don't understand how interest rates work on $500,000 home mortgages makes me very nervous about the state of education in this country.
You should be very afraid, because a nation that is as literate as we are is financially illiterate.
Well, to what extent are the card companies taking advantage of people? That's one of the issues. I want to know, somebody from the financial services industry came on here a week ago and said nobody's rate is going up if they aren't an increased credit risk. Is that accurate?
I don't believe that at all. That if you're going to have risk-based pricing, then at least base the pricing on the risk of the individual consumer. I know people who have made every payment on time, and they are making it in this economy right now, but the minute they find their minimum payment raised, Their interest rates double. They get killed.
We have to go, Adam.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Adam Levin.
Good debate.
With Credit.com.
Mine was a little more, you know,
No,
macro, I know.
Spread the blame, everybody.
There you go.
Brian and I were arguing about, I don't know what. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back.